The year was 1890. It was a time of peace and tranquility. It was also a time when the Industrial Revolution fueled the growth of cities and towns across America. New developments in printing coincided with the rising popularity of cigars and the ever-growing need for advertising. This is the untold story of cigar advertising, the printers, the salesmen, and the salesman sample books. The story begins when tens of thousands of cigar manufacturers were all trying to fill the addictive habits of an exploding tobacco-smoking public, where 4 in every 5 men smoked at least one cigar a day. In order to reach new customers, cigar makers needed strong brand identification. Some larger cigar manufacturers required hundreds of different themes and could order lots of up to 10,000 labels for their cigar boxes. With this came the ever-rising cost to create an attractive cigar box label, so the cigar manufacturers shifted from local small-town printers to large lithographic firms in the cities. Firms such as Schmidt, Harris, Schwenke, and Heppenheimer and Mauer began to dominate the cigar box label market. Able to spend thousands of dollars to create one image, nothing was spared in making their products as lavish as possible. They were well staffed with the finest artists of the day and armed with the latest printing techniques. By 1900, the cigar industry grew to an amazing 300,000 brands, thus forcing printing firms to create cigar box label images at an astounding rate. Larger printing firms had to create catalogs, each holding hundreds of cigar box label images and ready to meet the needs of any large cigar manufacturer. The cigar label salesman carried smaller sample books. Each book contained 10 to 20 sample labels. These are known today as the salesman sample labels. The books were oblong, usually bound on the left side, and contained samples of the printer's latest artworks. The cigar label salesman would arrive at the doorstep of a cigar maker, then entice them with page after page of gorgeous labels, thus allowing the cigar maker to uniquely tailor their own brand of cigars. The cigar manufacturers hired their own salesmen to sell their cigars to merchants. Cigar salesmen not only provided samples of their products, but were also expected to seduce a store owner into the brands of their labels. These salesmen were nicknamed drummers because their job was to drum up business, much like the drummers that preceded the traveling shows of the Middle Ages. Young men of the industrial age were attracted to the adventurous life of the salesmen. Salesmen were popular characters and the center of attention wherever they went. However, like many a romantic notion, this naive thinking did not live up to the harsh reality. In order to make money, a cigar salesman had to represent several companies and hustle to make ends meet. Initially, the cost of cigars and the sample boxes had to be absorbed by the salesman, and offering free samples and pitching the cigar's superior quality was the salesman's main focus. It was hard work, fierce competition, and an occasional door slammed in your face. Salesmen came and went. Some lasted barely long enough to get their business cards printed. The cigars themselves were selected to cover the variety the manufacturer had to offer. The salesman carried 2 sample boxes, one for showing the appearance, and the other to be used for offering free samples to smokers. 5 and 10 cent cigars were their stock in trade and made for a good profit. Carefully packed, they would all fit inside his case and still leave some room for a few sample books. Today, collectors of cigar box labels highly prize the salesman sample labels. They offer the same variety for the collector as they did for the cigar makers years ago, and many are all that is left of the original art, left behind by the talented artists that have long since disappeared.